started. So again, good morning and thank you for signing up and attending our webinar on SignOps, our sign inventory management system. My name is Bill Steele. I handle business development and marketing here. Mike Gennard, one of our GIS technicians and our SignOps team leader. He's going to go through exploring updates to our sign inventory management application. So I know some of you are already clients or have looked at our program before. And at the end of the last year, at the end of 2020, we had a major update to the sign-up system as a whole. So that's really what we're going to focus on today. We do have a couple more webinars scheduled for signups throughout the year. But I will show you some more information on those. And just so you're curious, you can spread the word currently or in the near future. A couple webinars we have coming up. One May 5th on NG911, what we can do there for data services. May 19th is a big one for all the GIS people in the world, migrating from ArcMap to ArcGIS Pro. And then the one there in June, Land Records and Parcel Fabric, is on June 16th with Matt. Of course, any and all of our webinars, go to cloudpointgeo.com/webinars and sign up there. Again, there are going to be a couple more, 2 more sign-off specific webinars throughout the year. So I'll throw a link in the chat box, make it easy for you guys if anybody wants to sign up for those. We use Zoom, of course, for all our webinars, just so folks know. Pretty simple. You got your little chat box there. If you need anything, you can get a hold of us. Also the Q&A, feel free to put your questions in there at any time. We'll try to leave a couple minutes at the end. And if we can't get to something, we will definitely follow up with folks. But yes, absolutely. If you have any questions, feel free to put those in there. And of course, we handle a lot of things, whether it's mapping cemeteries, like I said, the 911 data, land records, parcel fabric. We even have our indoor specialty now. Indoor mapping is a bigger thing that folks are looking at for buildings and campuses. Of course, our enterprise and all of the GIS services that we have. But today specifically, we are talking about signs, sign inventory management, and our solution for that is SignOps. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the screen over to Mike. So go ahead, Mike.
All right, thank you, Bill. And again, thank you everybody for joining us today. Excited to get to show you these new updates to SignOps. And before I get to show some of those updates, I do want to cover just real quick, kind of at a high level, what SignOps is broadly. So today, before we get started, we are going to touch on some of those aspects of SignOps. So what is SignOps? SignOps is a solution that provides a complete turnkey sign inventory management system that gives our users a web-based, mobile-friendly application for updating their sign inventories, tracking their history, and that does include maintenance history, a complete maintenance history for each and every individual sign. They can also perform real-time inspections of their sign inventories. And also, SignOps allows its users to access the camera or on their mobile device. And we have some built-in scanner integration with SignOps to be able to scan barcodes for a quick and easy yet robust sign inventory solution. So some of the powers of SignOps and what makes SignOps kind of unique, separates it from some of the other sign inventory management solutions, is the mobility aspect of SignOps. Users can access SignOps from any desktop or mobile device, again, since it's web-based, as long as you have an internet connection to the specific device, whether that's a phone, an iPad, kind of like what you see here, or even a desktop. Any device that has internet access, you can utilize SignOps on. So this also does enable multiple users editing at the same time. It is GPS based, so this does allow for in-the-field data collection capabilities, as well as updating and inspections out in the field as well. The power of inspections. We utilize inspections in SignOps to help guide users for a streamlined and simple sign inspection process. We also utilize multiple records and reports within SignOps, so users can track their purchases, sold signs, a complete maintenance history, any signs that have been retired from their inventories, and as well as plenty other sign data, and also the ability to export that data. So what does Synops track data-wise? Well, here's just kind of a small list of some of the stuff, excuse me, that you can track with Synops. So all importantly, the MUTCD codes, sign dimensions, sheeting, text, manufacturers, suppliers, quantities, all of this other stuff, jurisdictions, complete maintenance records. And we also utilize signs that are in need of attention. So users can also better manage their kind of work orders and notice kind of at a glance which signs are in need of replacement, which signs need to be retired, and that kind of stuff. We also allow for photographs of signs and assemblies specifically. So you can also have a complete kind of history of photographs and attachments on each sign. The real kind of backbone of Synops is the barcode system. So Synops utilizes barcodes for improved asset management. Essentially what happens is that each sign in the Synops solution is identified with a unique barcode ID. And this barcode ID allows Synops to kind of track the life of that sign as it lives in the Synops application. So this barcode scanning provides rapid response and data retrieval, kind of like what I was talking about earlier with that built-in scanner integration. That can be device specific or even Bluetooth capability to connect to a kind of a wireless handheld scanner. So some of the other benefits of using barcodes is that they can pull up and utilize several lines of information that can be retrieved from just one barcode scan. Barcodes also eliminate the likelihood of entering incorrect information, and it accelerates greatly the data entry process and inventorying work that comes with managing a sign inventory. Here's kind of an example of what this looks like out in the field. The barcodes are attached, usually to the back of the sign, and you can see in some of these images here to scan those barcode readables on the signs. So, and one of the also benefits of Synops is that it utilizes an intuitive and easy to use interface that is actually a key part of our updates here that we're going to touch on today, that kind of enables users to collect, edit, and maintain their sign inventory seamlessly. It's very easy to use, straightforward, and we also have broken up the app into 4 kind of workflow areas that kind of maintain different areas of the sign inventory. So our sign shop, this is going to be where we kind of do the behind the scenes work, where we can enter our purchases, assign barcodes to specific signs. This is where if your organization sells signs, we would accomplish that. And we can also view all the signs that we have currently in stock out in the shop ready to go. In the field is kind of the meat and potatoes. This is where we can kind of view our maps. We can scan our signs. We can inspect our signs, perform maintenance upon our signs. Reports is where we're going to be able to get all that information from our sign inventory into key localized areas. So we can export these reports to CSV and Excel files that we can use to kind of share with other players that we might have in our organization, kind of get that information in their hands, or even provide a more detailed breakdown of some of that key data in our inventory. And finally, we have the administrative area, and this is kind of where we'll manage our sign types, manufacturers, sheeting definitions, and our users. So this is just kind of the administrative settings for our specific organizations within Synops. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up our application. We're going to go ahead and take a look and dive into some of those updates here. So this is kind of what we see at the home page of Synops. This is Synops on the desktop. That's how you're viewing it. However, this is going to look and act the exact same as it will on a phone, on a tablet, or any other device. So that is another key aspect of Synops. It's not going to look and behave differently across multiple platforms. It's going to look, feel, and perform the same no matter what device it's being viewed on. But as you can see here, kind of highlighted on the home page, we can see our change log. And this change log kind of details all of our updates when we come out with them. So it gives users kind of a good reminder and a good list to show, hey, here's all the updates that have been made. Here's now what we can do, some new features, some fixes to some current stuff out there. And what we really try to shoot for is we really try to shoot for one update at least a year. Sometimes we've been able to do more than one, but we really try to shoot for at least one update to the application every year. Now, the thing I always like to point out too with these updates is that Synops is very user-driven. So when users use the application, a lot of these changes have come from user feedback. And that's really what drives the development of Synops. So since our users are so hands-on with the application, since they're out using it almost daily in some cases, they get a lot of experience using the app. And there's a lot of stuff that they see that we're able to get their feedback on to say, hey, you know, it'd be great if we would add this functionality. It'd be great if we could do this with the application. So that's always one thing I like to point out as well, is that Synops is very user-driven based on the feedback that we get firsthand from our users. So we can kind of see at kind of a high glance here, some of the new stuff that we came out with in the fall 2020 release, the update. We have some new navigation options. This is kind of that user interface that I was mentioning before. So before, what we had was a drop-down system where if you would select the sign shop, for instance, there would be kind of a drop-down that would come down. You'd still pick kind of what you wanted to accomplish there in the sign shop. But now we moved away from that drop-down list to a more tile-based icons. So this is for improved usability, specifically on mobile devices. So instead of kind of a drop-down list, it's kind of hard to press. What we did is when we click on this sign shop, we can see we're broken up into tabs. That's much easier to select from a mobile device as opposed to a kind of a drop-down list. You can see we've also integrated some of these icons here to just kind of give some more visual feedback to our users. Hey, this is this icon, you know, for our purchases, we've got a little shopping cart. For our barcodes, we've got a barcode scanner. Selling our signs, we have a little dollar sign. So just kind of some more visual reinforcement, kind of streamlining and updating, giving it a fresh look and feel for that new user interface. But again, the big key with this one was to improve usability on mobile devices so that on an iPad, these buttons are going to appear nice and big. We're going to be able to click on those and take us where we need to go. This is also pretty consistent throughout the app. So here I'm just looking at the sign shop. However, if I go into the field, we're going to see it just kind of repeats and uses that same feel regardless of what tab we're looking at. Just kind of show those off there. So you can see again some custom icons, just give some more user interface abilities there. So one of the next things I wanted to touch on is we added new maps to Synops. One is for our needs attention, and these are going to show us the signs that are in need of attention. And we've also added a map for our overdue signs. So first, I'd like to get into that needs attention map. If I go into our tab for in the field, I can see here's a couple different options for us. Our users are familiar with this one. This is our nearest. And what this does is it's going to take me right to my current device's GPS location. It's going to give me a radius here, and I can see all the signs that kind of fall within my specific radius from my current location on my device. This is, again, kind of the map that we've always utilized here in the Synops application. And this is the one that our users are most familiar with. However, now we're able to see the signs that are in need of attention, kind of at a larger scale here. So now if I go ahead and I select that tab, you can see in my inventory currently, I've got 3 signs that are marked in needing of attention. So I can kind of use this map to get a feel for my inventory on, hey, what signs need replaced, what signs are in need of repair, retirement, etc. If I go to select one of these signs here, I'm going to go ahead and click edit. What that's going to do is it's going to take me right to that sign information. We can see now that this sign, we've also added these icons at the top. So this triangle here is a kind of visual reinforcement that, hey, this sign is marked as needing attention. And this little clock one here symbolizes that it's overdue for replacement. And I'll touch on that here in a little bit. But we can see down here at the bottom, our maintenance records, we can see it's flagged for being overdue. And when a sign is flagged as overdue, it's also flagged as needing attention. And so really what that means is when we flag something as needing attention, there's some sort of follow-up action, some sort of follow-up maintenance required for that specific sign. And again, whether that's retirement, replacement, some sort of a cleanup effort on that sign, that can kind of vary from sign to sign. But that's kind of what that means as needing attention. Something needs to happen in order for the sign to still be in the inventory effectively. So if I go back to my needs attention map, I can also interact with this map. So I can kind of zoom in. I can see, hey, most of my signs that are needing attention are, on this specific street. I can kind of interact with my data visually here and spatially. So I can kind of plan, today we're going to replace all the signs on this specific road here. Just adding some more depth and some more depth to kind of how our users can interact and manage their data there. If I go to our next map, this is for our overdue signs. If I select that tab, what it's going to do is it's going to say, according to our select parameters here, we can say whether the sign was installed or manufactured from a specific date, whether that sign will be overdue. And typically what that means is, if I say this sign, based on the install date of this specific sign, I can select 10 years. And currently it'll just pull from 10 years from today's date. So that'll take us all the way back to April 7th of 2011. Of course, I can change this if I wanted. I can make it, 15 years ago. I can make it if I go back to, even 5 years ago, it's gonna catch all those signs where the install date was more than 5 years ago. And of course, I can change the specific date here as well, if I wanted to look at from a specific date. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the manufacturer date. I'm going to go back to 10 years. So currently what I'm looking at is any signs in my inventory that have a manufacturing date of over 10 years ago from today's date. So any sign that was manufactured before April 7th of 2011. Here we can see I've caught 4 signs. One has already been flagged as needing attention. And so we can see that one has already been flagged for overdue. So I've got some other additional options down here to kind of filter through these signs. Sometimes, this will impact a broad number of signs, not just the 4 that I have here. This could impact, somewhere 50 to, over 100 signs based on our input parameters could be overdue at once. And that can be a lot of signs to replace. So we've added this filter capability to kind of maintain and manage that workload on replacing the overdue signs. So I can also filter those needs attention out. So if I already know that this one is in need of attention, it's going to be replaced anyway. I can say, nope, don't show me those anymore. So now it's just going to be down to 3. If I wanted to, I could also filter by a specific road name. So if I wanted to show, if there's any on Route 24, okay, I'm good. Route 24, all the signs according to my manufacturer date and parameters, those are good. If I wanted to see Front Street here, I've got my 3 signs on Front Street. These are all overdue based on their manufacturing date being more than 10 years ago. I've got that filter on. And so once I'm ready, I can see, and again, interact with my data here through the map. So these 3 signs right here, these are, again, manufactured more than 10 years ago. And for my organization, we're going to call that overdue for replacement. So what I can do here is I can flag these signs. I'm going to go ahead and select the flag all option. And here it's going to tell me, are you sure you want to flag these signs as overdue? This is just kind of a reinforcement message for our users. This will mark them as needing attention and add a maintenance record to the sign as being flagged overdue. And it'll tell me this is going to affect 3 signs. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click continue. And so now we can see those signs have been flagged as overdue. So if I go to that specific sign or any one of these specific signs, I'm going to click on the edit button here. It's going to pull up that sign's information. And we can see now that this created a maintenance record on this sign, that it's flagged overdue and the sign is overdue for replacement. So those are kind of some new ways that we can interact with our data and maintain sign data more specifically in our inventory. A lot of users will benefit definitely from that overdue capability. That way, it's kind of hard to tell, without having that capability to sort by specific manufacturer dates or install dates. It's hard to tell which signs have been kind of sitting out on their assembly for years and years. Some might fade faster than others, but this way it's a lot easier to maintain your data when you see all the signs that have been installed more than 10 years ago. that were installed more than 12 years ago. So it's really handy to have that functionality in there to give users that information at their fingertips. One of the next things I wanted to touch upon here is our sign inspections. So the inspect signs capability is something we've had in SignOps for a while now, but what we've done is we've added a new capability into here to kind of streamline our inspection process. So if I go ahead, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my nearest map just to provide some additional background information here. Again, it's pulling my current location from my desktop's GPS location. What I can do here is I'm going to show we've got a sign here on an assembly. If I keep going to the west here, I've got another sign on this assembly. However, I've also got some signs. You can see here, this is kind of just an example yield sign just to the east of my current location on Front Street. And I've got another turn sign just here, a little bit further down the road to the east, also on Front Street. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into in the field and say, today I want to perform inspections on all the signs on West Front Street. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my inspection parameters. So I'm going to inspect all the signs that are facing west on West Front Street as I travel east on West Front Street. And we can also filter in some of the days. So if you've performed an inspection on these signs within the last 2 days, it's going to filter those signs out. This is something that we can also change according here. So any signs, if I want to go back, if I've inspected any of these signs within the last 7 days in the last week, it's going to filter those out. But I'm just going to go ahead and leave that at 2 since I have not performed an inspection on these signs in the last 7 days. And so now here is our new toggle to kind of filter out some more signs here. We can see this option that says show only the signs in front. So I'm going to disable that for now to kind of show you what used to be in the application. If I run a search, what it's going to do is it's going to start my inspection parameters based exactly upon where I am currently, my GPS location. So you can see from the office here where my desktop is located in the nearest map. If I go back just one more time, I'm kind of in the middle of these signs. So I had 2 signs to the east, this sign here, and another one here. And I had 2 signs to the west, here and here. So what my inspect signs parameters are taking is my current location here. What it's going to do is it's going to put me on West Front Street. And if you recall, I set the travel distance or the direction to be east. So what the app is doing is it's going to say, okay, as you travel east this way down West Front Street, it's going to give me the signs in the correct order in which I hit them based upon my parameters. So all of these signs are facing west as well. So really what I'm wanting to do to start my inspection is I'm going to start with this yield sign. And as I continue to travel east, I'm going to hit this left only sign. I'm really not so interested about these other 2 signs back here because they're kind of on the opposite direction. I'd have to start further down the road. So what I'll do, if I go back to inspect signs, it kept my parameters for me. I'm going to pull those up again. Here's what we would see typically before from the application. Those signs would still pop up because it would still technically meet the input parameters of the inspections. However, we could see that they're a negative distance, which means I've already passed them based upon my current location and the input parameters I've already set within the inspection. So what we did was we included this show only signs in front toggle. So if I go ahead and if I toggle that on, what that's going to do is it's going to take all those signs that are currently behind me based upon my GPS location and those inspection parameters, and it's going to filter those out for me. So it's only going to show me the signs that I hit in front of me as I travel east down the road. So you can see that yield sign that was just outside my office, just outside our current location, is going to be the one I hit first. And these distances are going to update as I travel down the road. If I hop in the truck, grab my iPad, as I travel east down the road, I'm going to hit all these signs and the distance is going to update real time as I go down the road. So inspecting signs is as simple as passing or failing. I'm going to go ahead and click pass here on this next one. Say I come up, the reflectivity is great. Everything's good about this sign. If I go ahead and I can click edit the sign, it's going to take me right to this sign here. And it's also going to give me an inspection record that it passed an inspection automatically. So that's kind of the new feature there to kind of help streamline and kind of clean up these inspection parameters. Whereas by default, we would already see the signs that we were passed. Now we can kind of filter those out, give us a little bit cleaner list as we perform our inspections. The one last thing I kind of wanted to show real quick, that was a big update from ours this last fall. If we go into the admin tab here, and if I click on settings, we've also allowed users to kind of control some of these default organizational settings right off the bat. So now if there's multiple jurisdictions within an organization, if they are responsible for a couple different jurisdictions, they can select kind of a default jurisdiction, which of course can be changed at any time in the application. If they edit the specific signs, they can update those jurisdictions. We can see some kind of default overdue parameters. So in this case, by default, we would be looking at the install date as opposed to the manufacturer date for the signs that are flagged as overdue, or that's kind of how we view them in the overdue signs parameters, and the overdue default age. So technically, according to these default parameters, any sign that was installed 10 years ago is going to be kind of what we consider as overdue for our signs. We also have a quick option here that'll edit the sign facing direction and some helpful messaging over here as well that kind of help guide through some of these settings. So with that, those are kind of the 4 big main updates to the application that we pushed out last fall. So with the last few minutes here, I just kind of wanted to check in with Bill and check in with you guys, see if there was any questions that I can answer.
That was a great, Mike. There are no questions currently in the Q&A, guys. If you have anything, feel free to enter that in. But that was great, Mike. A lot of info. I am going to put some links for everybody in the chat box. And then I'm going to share over your screen so they can see some contact information here. There we go. So again, thank you all for attending. There's a lot of information, but there was a lot to go over with the new updates. Really nice, really slick looking updates just to make signups a little easier, a little better to use. And like Mike said, we're always looking for input from our clients. So whenever somebody comes on as a new client, we're there to help you right off the bat and to stay in touch and make sure that everything just continues to run as well as possible for everybody. So you can see our emails up on the board. Please feel free to get in touch with Mike or myself directly. Also just cloudpointgeo.com/contact, just our general contact page. Of course, the office here, 877-377-8124. And we're all over social media, so you can like and find us there. We actually do have, I just remembered, I apologize, Mike, I should have put on here, we do have a separate SignOps YouTube channel. If you go to our YouTube channel for CloudPoint Geospatial, I'm going to put that in the chat real quick.
Yeah, and as Bill is finding that, kind of featured on that YouTube channel, I kind of break down individually each one of those updates that we kind of discussed today. So there is some good information definitely on that YouTube channel that kind of goes over those updates individually and a little bit more in depth.
Yep. So I shot a link to the CloudPoint YouTube channel, and then it also features the SignOps channel, which just has those specific SignOps videos that Mike talked about. So again, everybody, thank you for attending today. We do record all of our webinars, so I'll be following up with attendees, sending you guys a link. If there's something you missed, you can definitely see that. But again, please feel free to get a hold of us anytime. We're here to answer any question you guys might have. So thanks a lot.
Yep. Thank you.